Hey guys, Jonathan here, and the day we've all been waiting for is finally here. The first ever LEGO Fantastic Four set, and it's the Galactus battle. It could not get any more epic than this, and I'm super excited to break it down. Now, LEGO actually sent me this set early to review, which you might have seen I posted a reel and TikTok and all that of, but I was actually able to find it early at my local Target, thanks to my friend Brody for giving me the heads up. So if you want to take that code to your Target, I'll bring it a little closer so you can see there. That code, if you ask a Target employee, maybe they might be able to help you if they have it in stock, but it hasn't hit store shelves yet. But regardless, we're here to talk about Galactus, so let's get right to it. So to show Galactus properly, I do think it's best to do so with the figures attached, and we'll start at the feet and work our way up. This stud that's exposed there, it's a Technic stud, is so that you can put minifigures standing on his feet, but once you take the figures off the feet entirely, honestly, that stud is really annoying to me. Of course, you could just remove it, but then he would have a big open hole in his foot, so I wish that it came with, like, pink pieces that you could cover that up if you wanted, but still, it is a really nice build. I do dig that we have the, like, kind of spikes around his boots ankles there. That looks really good. As we move up, of course, you can see he's kind of got like knee pads here as well as knee joint posing. I'll show you the full posability in a minute. I just really want to talk about detail at this point in time. We do have stickers all the way around on these skirt pieces, quite a few stickers too, but these are some of the only stickers in the set. The only other ones are this one on the torso there, which is really cool, kind of that Jack Kirby futuristic style, and these ones right here. Thankfully, the face print is completely printed, so that's really, really cool. Now, as we move up, I like these spikes we have around his belt, and the pink and blue color scheme on this really just pops and shines. I absolutely love it. The way that the helmet is constructed is so cool, too, with those, I guess, antlers or horns or whatever you'd want to call them. Then, of course, as we move down to the arms, we've got some shoulder pads and everything else. Now, the only other thing to talk about in context of the figures, of course, is this J-hook piece so that you could have the Human Torch flying around him. I guess Sue could also fly there, too, but you can see that we've got that clear piece that goes in the back of the minifigure's feet that attaches to the J-hook that attaches to the Technic pin in the back that allows for everything there. So let's go ahead and remove the figures and take a look at the posability of Galactus up next. Okay, so Galactus is pretty tall, tough to fit him in screen entirely, but as you can see, the head rotates as you might expect from a buildable figure. Then the arms rotate at the shoulder joints, the elbows move all the way up, the wrists turn, all the fingers can be posed, and of course there's that stud that you could put figures in his hand like we saw before. Then underneath kind of his skirt piece, you can actually move the hips there, you can move the knees and the ankles, so he is super, super posable, and honestly, he looks really, really menacing, and I absolutely love the way that this came out, which is saying something considering how you guys know I feel about these buildable figures. Speaking of which, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the scale of this. So I just so happen to have the Ant-Man from the Civil War airport battle so you could see how much taller Galactus is. He's basically an entire head taller. So I do like that he's that tall, but in scale, I feel like he needs to be like even more significantly taller than Ant-Man. So it might be cool to get like 2 or 3 Galactuses and see if there's a way to like build him up and make him even bigger. I don't know if that's something that I would do, but then again, I'm so excited about this set, it might just be something I do. But the set's so expensive, that's why it's like, I don't know about that. But we'll see. But regardless, yeah, I do think it's good to see these two side by side. Let me know what you think of the size comparison. I can't believe it, guys, but this is our Fantastic Four LEGO minifigure lineup for the first time ever. I am just absolutely speechless, and I love it so much. We're going to look at each of them individually, but I do think it's good to show them side by side to point out one of my major gripes with the set, and that is that Sue, Johnny, and Ben all have the exact same torso. Of course, the Reed Richards one is very similar too, but you'll notice that Reed doesn't have the white around his collar, whereas the other 3 members of the team do. I think that that's a major bummer, because they do have unique suits in the movie, like some of them have white on the arms and things like that, so that's definitely a bummer. The next bummer is the fact that they all have plain blue legs. Now, Reed, of course, has the stretched out legs, and he has white boots on there, so clearly LEGO can acknowledge that they should have white boots, but they didn't give us dual molded here. Honestly, I think that people would have paid more than $60 for this set if the minifigs had arm printing and leg printing. That's just my take, though. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that, if you think that that would be the case, but I think that just a little bit of uniqueness for all of them would have gone a long way. The next thing I would point out is the fact that Sue has the same torso as Johnny and Ben, when traditionally female torsos kind of have like the slim hips. I kind of understand that. It's not that big of a deal to me, but, you know, when we're looking at somebody like The Thing, who's super bulky and super, you know, wide and, you know, just big and rocky muscular, it isn't really sensical for him and Johnny to have the same torso, let alone for all three characters to have the same torso. So that is a minor nitpick, but I do think it's worth pointing out. I'll also point out that the design of the torso is the same as Reed's. Literally, the only difference is they didn't color Reed's collar white on his suit. So that's kind of the comparison look here. Now we'll take a look at each figure individually. Okay, so up first we have Reed Richards, and I do think that this figure looks pretty good. The one thing, though, is in the movie, he kind of has a mustache, but not really a beard. It's more so just like stubble, but this figure has a full beard, which to me is just a little bit of an odd choice. I do think that the Pedro Pascal likeness is pretty good, all things considered. It's just having a full thick beard with like sideburns and all that. I don't think that that's the best. Then, of course, the hairpiece here is solid black when we literally have a Doctor Strange hairpiece that has white on the sides that is currently in sets, so I really don't know why LEGO would go with that. In my opinion, just from what I've seen of the movie, it kind of seems like Reed's hair is more of like a dark brown than black even, so I don't know. There's just some things that are a little bit off with the head for me, but overall it is still a really nice figure. As pointed out, he has the same torso as everybody else, just without the white collar. And then, of course, we get these brick-built pieces that are made of 4 bricks total that you could put on his feet to make him taller, which, you know, it is the best way to do it brick-built, but it would have been really cool to get, like, an alternate set of legs, like Woody from the old Toy Story sets or from the Avatar sets that are taller, which, again, have been in LEGO sets recent enough that they could have done it, they just chose not to. So, you know, it's not a bad minifig. I'm not really complaining, but there are some places that it definitely could have been improved. Next up is Sue Storm, who is probably the most mixed bag figure for me here. The reason being is the head is the same Black Widow head that they've been using since at least 2018. So we've gotten it on so many different figures. To not get something unique here that looks a little bit more like Vanessa Kirby, or just to use a less common head would have been a better choice for me. Of course, for what it's worth, we can lift up the hair and show the other side that you know what it looks like, because we've been seeing it on minifigs for like 7 or 8 years now, but it is still a nice figure all around. I do like the invisible power blast that you build to put in her hand. Very simple builds there, but they do add a lot of character. Of course, you know, we already talked about the fact that nobody got, like, leg printing or even dual molded legs, which would have been really nice. And yeah, it's not a bad figure. It's just, I wish it wasn't such reused parts. Like, for example, literally, you could make this figure with the other figures in the set, since Ben and Johnny have the same torsos. It's just, you know, again, not bad, just I do have to be critical as a reviewer and talk about things that could have been better, you know? Okay, up next we have Johnny Storm, who reuses a head that we've seen in lots and lots of sets before. Of course, they've used this head on, like, Scott Lang in the past, so it's certainly not new or anything. The hairpiece, I do believe, has appeared elsewhere, but it's not a super common piece, and I think that it being used in this color is the first time we've gotten it in the LEGO Marvel theme, so that's pretty cool. And, of course, he's not really in his flame-on mode, although we do get these flames we can put on his feet for when he's flying around Galactus, and, of course, the power blasts that go in his hand, which we all know and love from over the years. Again, it would have been nice to get a flame-on version, but, you know, I trust that we'll probably get that at some point. Like, we already know that the Fantastic Four, and specifically Joseph Quinn, are confirmed for Avengers Doomsday, so it's obvious we'll be getting LEGO sets for that, since we get them for every Avengers movie, so maybe then we could get a flame-on version of Johnny, and that would be fine with me. But for right now, this figure is pretty cool, or should I say, pretty hot. Flame on! And the figure that I think we're all most excited about, of course, is Ben Grimm the Thing. Now, I don't have to mention again that he has the same torso as Sue and Johnny. We get it by this point, but he does have a brand new headpiece here that is kind of like the Rocky piece, and it even has eyebrows built into it. But if we look at the head, he even has eyebrows printed on the head on both sides. So you can see that when you put the headpiece on, it actually covers up those eyebrows. But overall, I do think that it's the best that LEGO could do for a minifig style of the Thing. And, you know, there's been the discussion, should he be a big fig, right? But, you know, I honestly think seeing it here in person, it actually works out pretty well at minifig scale to see him with the team. Really, my only complaint is that underneath the hands, he has white gloves on. It would have been really nice if they gave him, like, that same nougat color so that, you know, if you didn't want to have the big gloves on there, at least he could have different hands. That is simple enough to change out, and of course, as I'll be doing custom upgrades, we'll be talking about that on future videos, but it is worth mentioning for now that I really wish we could have got something other than the white gloves underneath there. It's not a horrible figure by any stretch of the imagination. Stretch. I should have made that joke when I was talking about Reed, but regardless, still really, really cool, and that's going to bring us to the close of the video, so let's wind out and call it a day. Alright guys, well, it's $60. I think that for Marvel fans and Fantastic Four fans, this one is an unskippable set. Could it have been better to have included Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Car? Sure, but honestly, 4 brand new minifigs and Galactus, honestly, I just love this set so much. It really, really works out for me, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. So let me know down in the comments. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four videos. Now that I have the figures, the next thing to do is upgrade them, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys on the next video.